Of more burst pipes.
There are holes all around the house.
And we're not done yet.
We've got not one, but two more hard freezes on the way.
The new lawsuit filed over the failed power grid. And were we really seconds away from a catastrophic failure that would have left us in the dark for months? Stay with us.
You justify leaving in the middle of all this instead of getting out there and seeing what you can do with your hands to help?
Well, look, in hindsight, if I'd understood how it would be perceived, the reaction people would have, obviously I wouldn't have done it. It was a mistake.
Tonight, only ABC 13's Tom Abrams grilling Senator Ted Cruz about that controversial trip to Mexico. Tonight, critics demanding the senator's resignation. The internet coming up with new nicknames like Flying Ted and Cancun Cruz.
As we know, the senator left town as we saw scenes like this across Houston here. Some people without any clean water lining up at Hayden Park in Spring Branch here, filling jugs, coolers, and buckets with water from a spigot. Families with burst pipes in their homes worried about how they'll fix the mess and keep a roof over their heads in sub-freezing temperatures. And of course, the power outages. Many seeking refuge at Gallery furniture stores. Then Mattress Mac opened up, doing what he could to help as Cruz jetted off with his family. We're bringing that exclusive interview in just a moment, but we need to get you updated on the latest water and power situation.
Now, fortunately, the lights are on for most people, but ERCOT has us all on notice that additional outages may be needed as temperatures sink overnight. Tonight, ABC 13's Mayra Moreno met a single mom, one of thousands of people who still have not gotten their power back at all. Mayra, this has to be truly frustrating.
It really is, Gina. And at last check, CenterPoint said a little over 7,000 people are still without power tonight. So as we deal with more cold temperatures, freezing temperatures tonight, of course, it is very, very frustrating. And this mother says she just hopes she's back in power by the weekend.
Single mother and small business owner Elisa Espinosa is one of many Texans still dealing with a cold home tonight and busted pipes.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so 4 days straight, no power, no water.
Just like everyone else, Monday morning was a fun snow day, playing outside and enjoying Houston snow. But soon after,
I think it didn't get real until we lost power. So we were kind of like, okay, well, it's going to come back on, and then it never did.
This afternoon, Governor Greg Abbott said that no residential power outages were due to lack of power generation. Instead, if you don't have power like Elise, it's because of downed power lines or the need for the power company to manually reconnect.
Every available repair truck has been dispatched to repair those down power lines. Know that the repair of the down power lines and the reconnected, that is not a task that is delegated to the state of Texas.
Also this afternoon, CenterPoint tweeted this in part, quote, "We restored approximately 1.3 million electric customers in a 24-hour period and expect to have majority restored by the end of day." Elise and her 7-year-old Arian Lucas have been taking this entire situation in stride, even helping her neighbors with busted pipes and more.
So just trying to do what we can and staying positive. I think if we're just like frustrated about the situation, it's not going to turn the lights on.
Mayra Moreno, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
Let's turn now to our chief meteorologist, Travis Herzog.
Yes, and Travis, you were saying we have at least 2 more hard freezes to get through.
2 more, but then we're done. 2 more freezes, so 2 more nights to go. It feels like an eternity, but we'll get there. The freeze line has moved back into Houston. It's now 32 at Bush. Factor in the wind. It feels like it is 21 degrees, and just about everyone is under a hard freeze warning again tonight. There's high pressure up here in the Texas Panhandle, and that is driving the freeze line all the way down to the Gulf Coast as we go through the overnight hours. You're already well below freezing north of Houston. It's 30 in Livingston, 28 in Huntsville and College Station, 29 in Conroe, and it won't be long before you get there in places like Pasadena, Pearland, and Angleton Bay City, currently at 33 degrees. We expect lows in the teens tonight north and west of Houston, low 20s from Tomball to Livingston, 23 in Humboldt and Katy, 24 in Houston, and 25 degrees in Pearland. It's really just right around Galveston Bay that you're not included in this hard freeze warning. The hard freeze denotes the potential that pipes are in jeopardy of potentially freezing and bursting. So continue to protect those, and of course, warm shelter for people, pets, and plants. So the sky's going to continue to clear out. Hard freeze for most. The sunshine returns tomorrow, but then we get another hard freeze tonight. And then I've got much better news coming up in the rest of your forecast.
All right, Travis, thank you. Well, water distribution sites in Houston quickly running out tonight. Mayor Turner tells us close to 109,000 bottles were given away since this afternoon. The City Hall will host a mass water distribution event tomorrow at Del Mar Stadium. That event begins at 11:30 a.m. Now, we still don't know when people who don't have water should be expecting to get it back. Those who do have water will have to boil it before using it, and that is expected to continue through the weekend. And with tonight's hard freeze, leaders urge you not to let your faucets drip because of the impact on our water pressure.
Or what you need to do is shut off your home's main water line and drain the pipes.
If you don't know how to do that, you can reach out to 311 for some assistance. Well, now we turn to that ABC 13 exclusive sit-down with Senator Ted Cruz. You saw some of it live during our 6 o'clock newscast.
ABC 13 political anchor Tom Abrams joins us now live in studio with more of what we have not seen yet. Tom?
Eric, Gina, we know there are more important things going on in all of our lives than whether or not a politician took a vacation. But to put it in context, a sitting U.S. senator left the country while millions in his own state are suffering. Now, he offered me an opportunity to ask him about his trip, and late this afternoon in his home, we talked with him about that visit to Cancun and his quick return. There is outrage that you left and that you didn't, instead of, I get it, I'm a dad, you want to indulge your kids, but there are a lot of people whose children don't have heat and power. How do you justify leaving in the middle of all this instead of getting out there and seeing what you can do with your hands to help?
Well, look, in hindsight, if I'd understood how it would be perceived, the reaction people would have, obviously I wouldn't have done it. It was a mistake. But at the same time, you're right. As a leader, you need to be here. And you need to be here when Texans were hurting. And that's why I didn't feel good about it even as we were heading out. I knew why we said yes, but I was thinking it was a mistake almost from the outset. And then as I saw the firestorm that erupted, that made it even more clear that I needed to be here. And one of the things I really regret, I don't like this being used as a distraction from the real issues.
But it wouldn't be a distraction if you'd stayed here and said these same things, right? And gotten out in the streets.
I agree.
So how do you earn back the trust of those who voted for you or didn't vote for you, but who were upset with the fact, at least of the optics, that you left instead of staying?
Tom, candidly, I got to say the press is obsessed with optics. The press, everything. Well, okay. But hold on, let me answer your question.
That's fine. I'm just trying to be respectful in the way that I ask it. A lot of people are just upset with you. How do you make it right?
Well,
can you?
Many of the people who were upset with me were upset with me before we started. There are people on the far left who disagree with me politically, and you know what? That's fine.
Well, I can guarantee some of those Texans who normally agree with you didn't like that you left. Would you have come back if there hadn't been this outrage on Twitter and elsewhere?
Look, as I said, I was having second thoughts even as I sat down on the plane. I flew down with my family last night. I talked to Heidi last night before we went to bed, and I said, listen, I think I need to come back tomorrow. I need to be in Texas. It's not right for me to be here. So it was at the outset of the trip, I recognized that, yes, I have responsibilities as a dad. That's what I was trying to take care of. But I also have responsibilities as a senator. Now, it was my intention, between phone and computer and email and Zooms, you can work remotely. That was my intention. But even so, I needed to be here. And so it was a mistake not to. And so I changed my flight to come back today. And that was the right decision to come back.
Now, we are aware there are reports tonight about text messages among members of the Cruz family and friends regarding the trip. Now, this news broke as we were conducting the interview. I did not ask him about the text messages because of that, but you can watch our entire 22-minute conversation about the storm, energy in Texas, power outages, loss of water, and his trip on our website and on all of our streaming apps. Gina?
Story continues to develop, Tom, but excellent reporting there. Well, while our Tom Abrams was talking to Senator Cruz inside his home, there were protesters who stood outside calling for him to resign. A handful of critics met the senator when he returned from his quick trip.
For him to fly to Mexico to get his family warm shows exactly how out of touch he is with Texans, with American people, with all of us trying to survive every day and stay warm, keep our kids warm. And what he did, you know, he didn't even try to apologize for this. So we're here to show him, to shame him.
Several Houston police officers were on hand to make sure the peaceful protest did not get out of hand.
Well, also tonight, an update on the growing number of deaths from the cold and the prosecutor who says criminal charges might be necessary. Plus, an ER nurse calls the situation a disaster. Some hospitals dealing with inadequate water supply. It's a big problem, especially for dialysis patients. What's being done to care for those in need?
Food, gas, water, getting that to grocery stores and gas.